Hi there, this is Malorian, and this is going to be another Orc Tactical team. Now, what we're going to be talking about today is coming back to the High Elves, and talking about a unit that I think is awesome, but for some reason a lot of people out there are really down on them, even though I think they're just an amazing thing in the book. So, what we're going to be focusing on for this one is the Sisters of Avelorn. They're a new unit in the book, they're a rare choice, and they have a lot of different aspects to them. Probably the first thing that's interesting about them is their stat line. You know, opposed to a regular archer, they are going to have ballistic skill 6, ballistic skill 5. They're, of course, weapon skill 5. They're good fighters, whatever. But it's really that high ballistic skill, which is the key thing here. I mean, for anyone who knows, like, even when you're shooting with Wood Elf shooting, it's like, well, you know, I'm ballistic skill 4, it's all right, but even at short range, I'm hitting at 3s type thing, right? If I'm ever shooting at something long range, it's 4s. If there's any other minuses there, you know, it goes away quickly. So starting that high, blitz skill 5, we're talking about like Way Watcher type guys, but this is a regular rare and a lot less points. But let's go to the next cool thing that I love about the Sisters of Avelorn. And that's the whole idea of their awesome bow. Now, what the bow is, I mean, it's kind of silly where there's a magical bow and a magical arrow. They should just put the two together to keep the rules together. But really what it is, it's flaming, it's magical, which is awesome. And then the other thing as well is if you're ever against the forces of evil, basically destruction, then you also have the -1 to their armor save. And these are strength 4. So these are pretty damn awesome bows. And if you're ever up against the forces of destruction, they're -2 to their armor saves, which is a pretty big deal for a lot of evil armies out there. Now, Let's first talk about the reason why some people don't like them. Number one, people say that they're not great because, oh, look at them. They have bows and not long bows. Like, that's a big deal, having that 6-inch difference, you know, that you really don't have that long of a threat range. And by the time you're really shooting something, you're putting yourself in a spot where you can be killed yourself. Reason number two, they can't take any command. So you're not getting any banner in there. You're not getting any musician in there. So if somebody sneaks to your flank, you can't reform and shoot them. You have no banner for blood and glory. That's a bad thing here. And then another big thing too is that since they're in rare, they're competing with the Phoenixes, which are awesome. So it's a very tight spot to be fighting for. I mean, they're special. It'd be a no-brainer. But they're in rare. It's a tough spot to beat. Now, let me tell you why I think they're awesome. The first thing you can do with them is just take them as a small unit. Just take them as, you know, min size, 10, whatever. But the main thing they're going to do for you there is, first of all, give you that access to magical shooting. So if you're ever up against, you know, vampire counts, they have their little ghost running around. Well, okay. You know, you shoot off, oh, pew, 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 and you take him off, right? Like, oh, you had a spirit host, he's going to be holding up my big, huge troll horde? No, he's going to die right there, right now. Well, I guess now I'm mixing up my armies. But, you know, he's not going to be coming in to hold up my stuff. I'm going to kill him right now. The next thing there is, of course, your flaming attacks, which is awesome. There's so many things out there which have regen. Of course, you have the things like chimeras now running around. So even though these guys won't be a big enough number to kill it right away, all you need to do is one wound. So you shoot the chimera, or you shoot the big block of the crypt horrors. You do at least one wound. And to be fair, you should probably do a few wounds. And then after you're done that, regen is gone. And then everything else you can shoot and take it off. So, you know, if you are running this shooty army that's going to be based around other Sea Guard or archers or the bolt throwers, you shoot this little unit first to take it off, and then bam, you clean house. Now, personally, I'm all about hoarding. And whenever I see something, bigger is better. Now, I wouldn't go crazy with these guys and take 50 or something like that. But where I think these guys hit their optimum size for effectiveness is 30. Because with their martial prowess, you're getting the full 30 shots, you know, 3 ranks 10. You don't need to go so wide and crazy. But that's also not too much of an point investment compared to other hordes as well. That's 420 points. You know, I'm already paying close to 500 whenever I'm doing my orc hordes. And these guys, they're going to be doing all their stuff at range. Now, here's some of the stuff that they're going to be doing with this. Because you're going to be putting such a huge investment into this, you also want to make sure they're going to be as effective as possible. So with that as well, you're probably also going to be adding in another character. This is going to be your Maiden Guard, who is another, well, let's add a whole thing with a Reaver Bow. Now, once you do that, that's another 120 points. And what that's giving you is 3 more shots. Now it's strength 5. And what is it, like blitz skill like 7 or something crazy? I don't know. It's really high. You're going to be hitting on 2s. And the other thing as well is that now you have quick to fire. So you're moving around and shooting. No minuses there. If somebody's really close, you're firing off anyway. You're basically now you can be moving around like wood elves, and it's no big problem to you. So that's massive. And of course, the extra, this investment, the 120 points for the 3 shots at that high blitz skill for strength 5, that's worth it anyway. And then putting it on this thing here, on this unit, just makes it so much better. Now, what that means is that even though you only have a 24-inch range, you can be setting up so that, well, no matter what happens, I can either move up my 6 to be in range, or I can be, if you get first turn to move up 8 or whatever it is, I can just shift back a little bit and keep on shooting. And these guys shooting is really good. Remember, this is 30 shots that are going to be hitting you at a 4+ at long range. Sorry, 3+ at long range, and then strength 4. I mean, if this unit is shooting at my Black Orc Horde, this is going to be killing off a freaking rank of them every single shooting phase. Now, if you think of, let's just take that. A 500-point Black Orc Horde versus this unit here. What's going to happen is, like I said, if the Black Orcs are on the very front there, which of course they're going to be, you're going to be setting up your sisters so that they're 6 inches back, right? Because then no matter what, 5 inches back, so no matter what, you can always step up and shoot, and it's no big deal, or you can back up, right? The range isn't the issue. Now, let's do the best scenario and say that the Black Orcs are going first, right? So at this point, you are going to be 29 inches away. They get first turn. They move up. You're now 21 inches away. Then the sisters go. They wipe off a frickin' rank after they move back 2.5 inches. So now we're at 23.5 inches away. Black Orcs go. They go up and march another 8. So now we're going to be 15.5 inches away. Sisters go. Take off another rank and go back another 2.5 inches so that now you're 18 inches away. And again, I mean, you're not going to charge with that if you're Black Orc. So what do you have to do as a Black Orc? March up again. Now you're 10 inches away. Now the sisters just back up again, the 2.5 inches, shoot again, take off another rank. Now at this point, we're 12.5 inches away. So if you try and charge, you're needing to get a 9 to even get in. So if you get it, great. You're taking a stand and shoot, and a few guys will get in and die. And if that's not the case, and you actually were able to, whatever, you're just going to die. There's so few of them. Or even if you got in there with a rank, these guys going with always strikes first, weapon skill 5, re-rolling to hit. The Black Orcs are just going to get cut down. And it's so devastating. So the real question here then is, well, what if you're attacking with them with something that's really fast and really putting on the pressure? And that's always going to be the real negative to any shooting unit, that if you can get to them, they'll be in trouble. Now, what you're going to, of course, have to do then is use this in a combined forces. Because, I mean, at this point, like I said, a small unit might work well in an all-shooty army where it's all kind of working together. In this one here, you're already having just a large investment in this shooting. You might have a few other small units to be shooting off the fast cav or something like that. But you're really going to have to combine this with some other things. So let's say now they have another unit that's going to be your core unit of Silver Helms, right? They're going to be there right beside. Sorry about this. Well, what they're doing is not only are they threatening whatever Orc unit might be coming at them, they're really forcing you to be very careful and kind of slow down. Otherwise, they can just charge in and finish off whatever they want. So this, let's rerun this scenario, right? So now we have on the one side the Black Orc Horde and the Sister Horde. Behind the Sister Horde is now going to be a Silver Helm unit of, let's say, 15. And beside that, we'll put in some savages or something like that, right? So what's going to be happening with this, and man, this thing can be close to equal points, but shoot, shoot, they're getting closer, holding back, blah, blah, blah. You're redirecting with your eagles. It's really hard to get this because once you bring the armies together, there's a lot of different interactions. But the main thing that's going to happen is that the one unit, the Black Orcs, are going to be devastated with shooting. After 2 rounds of shooting where there's only the 20 left, the Silver Helms will be charging over to them to finish them off. And then they'll be able in a spot where they can now threaten the flank of the Savages. And then all of a sudden it's a thing, well, okay, well, we can shoot them depending on whether there's any more redirectors, great. Otherwise, Silver Helms can go for the flank. But, man, it's so devastating the way you work these things together. Or you run them with chariots, right? You just have a chariot on either side and say, hey, if you want to come at us, we're going to be smashing into you. And I mean, like I said before, these girls will do very well in combat as well because of that high weapon skill and the re-rolls to hit. In my game that I had against Borgnine, I mean, yes, it was against a suboptimum combat unit going against the Skaven Rats, but still, if you're up against something that has low armor, they're just going to clean up, and because they have so many hits, and it's 30 attacks. 30 attacks hitting on 3s re-rolled. That's going to be, 8 out of 9 of all of those, which is awesome. So there you have it. I mean, let's go back to some of those negatives again. Well, the first one there was the fact that it's a bow and not a long bow. Well, once you go and you put in that one character, it doesn't really matter because you're moving up, getting that extra range anyway. It really isn't that big of a deal. Otherwise, right now I'm saying they're awesome. Other people don't believe in them. If they had long bows, I just say they're broken. They're just the best thing. They're just awesome. So giving them bows is actually something that kind of like scales them back into the realm of being like, this is a legit unit. It has good and bad, but it's not overpowered. So that's a big thing right there. The next thing is the thing about command. Not having a banner. That actually is a big deal because they are a big point investment, and if you're playing Blood and Glory, that's a lot of points you have that cannot get a banner. I know whenever I roll the Troll Horde, it's like, well, there's 630 points where I can't get a banner into, so I'm going to have to try and get banners in somewhere else. So again, it's going to work best when you're doing a mixed arms type of force where you could be having the thing somewhere else. Again, I didn't mention it, but another problem with the Maiden Guard is that she can't be a BSB. If she could be another option for a BSB, that'd be fantastic. Unfortunately, she's not. Now, the next thing there is the musician. Now, the real thing there is people saying, well, what happens if Fastcav comes to your side? My counter to that is, I don't care. Not only where you might have like other units to be shooting fast cav, but if you run some fast cav, let's just say that you have 5 Wolf Riders to the flank of my sisters, I don't care. Go ahead. I'm just going to keep on killing that rank of Black Orcs, and if you ever charge me in the flank, I'm going to beat you in combat anyway. I don't care. It would have to be something very serious flanking me that I didn't decide to shoot anyway before to actually be a real threat. And of course, there's all positioning. You could be, hugging one board edge to make sure I can't get around the one-way army person, army person, another unit there beside them. So there's ways around that, and really the lack of musician is not that big of a deal. The banner one, I'll admit, that hurts. The main guard not being at BSB, that also hurts. So then we come to the last one, which is really the fact that they compete with the Phoenixes. And this really is kind of a problem, but at the same time, you can get around it to a point, because a lot of times what we could do is take a horde of these guys, and depending on the point size that you're playing, you probably could also fit in one Phoenix as well. It'd have to be one of the larger tournaments, but it is still possible. Otherwise, you're really going to have to go and try and concentrate on one of the other elements to your game, right? So whether it's the chariots from your special or going with the blocks of the Phoenix Guard or something like that. I mean, that's another way to look at it, is you can be running it kind of like dwarves. For those who don't know, you go up against a dwarf gun line, you finally get up there, and then they just tie you up with something that's stubborn or unbreakable or something like that, a block of their slayers. You could be almost running the same thing here. Run that beside your Phoenix Guard that's going to have your level 4 in it. Shoot, 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 shoot. Okay, I destroyed this unit, but now this one's already in a spot to threaten me. All right, my Phoenix Guard just step up, and now you're never going to beat my Phoenix Guard with a 3+ ward. I'm just going to sit here with my Stubborn Crown and I got a ton of points. I got 500 points, and if I ever need to, maybe I can grind you down too. But really depends on the situation. So there you have it. I mean, Sisters of Avelorn, like I say, some people are not too hot for them. My biggest complaint for them, seriously, is just the model and the fact that I know the little arrow is going to break and they're so hard to rank up. But other than that, they are amazing. So there you have it. I hope you guys found this useful, and I'll be back with another Orc Tactical team another time. See you then. Bye.